I'm dead mephedrone, guys. I'm fully mephedrone.
Taking it was less manageable than taking heroin. I just couldn't control myself.
You go clubbing, you take mephedrone, and you're like an animal which can't be stopped.
This is from Moscow. First time I injected this at 17 years old.
It's like a pandemic of mephedrone here.
This is how Mephedrone has made a triumphant return to the international drug scene, helped along by robot dealers, crappy heroin, and Vladimir Putin. Back in 2009, the UK's students and suburban psychonauts fell head over heels for a new party drug. Mephedrone was sold online as plant food or bath salts, and the powder was completely legal. But it mimicked the effects of some very illegal substances, the chattiness of cocaine, the euphoria of MDMA, and the endless stamina of speed. It exploded in popularity, first in Britain and then around the world. But within a couple of years, mephedrone had been criminalized basically wherever it had found a market. However, over the last few years, MCAT has become wildly popular in Russia and a number of former Soviet states, where it's also known as 4-MMC.
Everyone is using it, like they say it's new MDMA. Like
It's harder to find a person who does not use than to find the person who uses. You have mephedrone, everybody will come with you and snort it.
when I tried it at first, I was like, yeah, this shit is good. But some of my friends are really addicted to it.
15 years ago, mephedrone became the first drug widely purchased online, predating early dark web marketplaces like Silk Road by a couple of years. In Georgia, dealers operating on Telegram or the dark web take payment in cryptocurrency, then send drop-off coordinates to the buyer to find, like a treasure hunt where the winner gets to stay awake for 72 hours.
You click the desired drug, it says mephedrone, crystal, 2 gram, 1 gram, 5 gram. The operators, most of them speak Russian. But nowadays there is a bots on a Telegram, and they are using like Georgian traditional names. Then you click buy in Russian, the address will arrive immediately. Okay, I'll get an address, we can go. All of my friends who are using a drug prefers the mephedrone. In Tbilisi, that's the best stimulant. That's a spot, you got it. That's the treasure, we got it. Now we shall open and taste it. There is a couple of crystals, do you see? Like huge crystals like this one. Can't wait to taste it. Hallelujah. It tastes and burns your whole face, so kind of feel euphoric in the head and in the stomach as well. Yeah, now I'm going to the mephedrone state. I see the visuals running already. I'm feeling calm, I'm feeling euphoric, I'm feeling motivated. On that level I am now, when you love everybody. Well, I just want to smoke one cigarette right now. I'm dead mephedrone, guys. I'm fully mephedrone.
While it's still largely being snorted or swallowed, the drug is also increasingly being injected across the region. This is partly because opiate users either can't get hold of decent heroin, so are switching over to mephedrone, or they're just injecting both substances together in a kind of Web 3.0 speedball. But studies show that mephedrone injection rates are also surprisingly high among a whole new generation of younger users who've never injected drugs before.
Today, I'm gonna show you why you don't need to try this shit. When I tried this, I was 13 years old and it was in Moscow, but it was only for 2-3 times of using. After that, I got addicted on this shit. This is from Moscow because in Georgia we don't have like good quality 4-MMC, and this one is crazy. Yes, it's epidemic in Russia. Like, everyone is sniffing mephedrone in Russia.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And it costs so cheap. I've never done injections. But I adore Mephedrone. it just used to fits to all situations. That's why it's quite easier to become addicted to it.
I love the smell of it. Like perfume. I know in London they call it cat, and many of people think that it smells like cat piss. Meow meow. Ugh. Tastes like childhood. It's very sad that I only can inject it. I can sniff this and nothing will happen to me, like no effect. The first time I injected this at 17 years old, and it was the moment like when I was sniffing like the whole gram, and I didn't like felt nothing, like no effect. And I started to injecting. The effect is fucking crazy, like only for 5 minutes. And then it's like a regular 2 lines. It's very awful to inject it because you need to make every 30 minutes new injections. Even when I inject, I can feel the taste. Tastes like just like chemicals.
When I first came to Tbilisi, it was 2019. At that time, I was like addicted to meth for half a year. We went to Basyani. There were only like locals there, and they asked me about the drugs. I told them it's my favorite, and they stared at me like totally disgust. And now it's like a pandemic of Mephedrone here.
Да краще лежим.
Да, отпускай. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let the party begin.
I feel great, very great.
Again?
Yes, like I want to inject this all. Can you give me a needle? It's awful.
This is my last time being your nurse. You don't need to do this.
I realized I have a problem with MCAD when I was like sniffing like for 5 grams at night, and I'm gonna stop injecting. Like I think it's my last session, but I want to get crazy on my birthday, so I don't know. I know that it's giving me harm, but I don't feel it.
While Russia doesn't publish drug use statistics, independent studies suggest that Mephedrone is now by far the country's most popular synthetic drug among young people. In 2022, when Vladimir Putin launched Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, many of these young people left, taking the drug with them into neighboring countries, followed shortly by the networks that had been supplying them. Vicky is one young Russian transplant who fled partly because of the war, but also because she wanted to get away from the Mephedrone scene in her home country.
After the first time I injected, I couldn't stop doing it. I was injecting a gram a day, and I don't know how my veins still function really. When I moved to Georgia, there was no Mephedrone available, but it's more available now. Since the war began, a lot of Russians have moved to Georgia. The influx of Russians has affected the availability of Mephedrone. There's a demand, so there's a supply too. Mephedrone in Russia is super popular. There's basically cities where you can't get weed, but there's Mephedrone easily available. It's a party drug for most people, but if you take it intravenously, it becomes something else. And I find that taking it was less manageable than taking heroin. I just couldn't control myself. The only thing that I wanted was to get more of it. If I stayed in Russia, I think I would have probably died.
As anyone who experienced Mephedrone's initial boom will remember, the drug is incredibly moreish, and the more you take, the higher your tolerance becomes. Many users back then quickly spiraled into addictive patterns and hospitalizations skyrocketed. Chronic use can lead to psychosis and cardiovascular issues, and the drug has been implicated in a number of fatal overdoses, particularly when used alongside other substances. The increasing rates of intravenous use in Russia, Georgia, and the surrounding region now pose a new set of potential risks.
The increase of mephedrone has been very steady during the last 2 years. If this trend goes on as it is, we will see a very large number of people using mephedrone. It may become very problematic. A lot of people have started injecting mephedrone, whereas that was not an acceptable way of consuming this drug before. So we need to study this problem as it goes, but that is a very sad news for people that actually use it because we do not yet have the exact method of helping them.
If you do get addicted to mephedrone in Georgia, good luck finding any help. While weed laws have been liberalized, being caught with more than a gram of most other drugs can result in 8 to 20 years in prison, plus massive fines. These laws deter many from seeking treatment in the first place, and even if people do look for help, there's really not much available. According to one study, a mere 5% of the roughly 45,000 people addicted to drugs in Georgia have access to treatment.
The truth remains that our government does not want to see the problem that is with drug use. We need to accept that this is a fact and have the policy that would accommodate people that are drug users instead of shaming them and punishing them for having a problem or having the lifestyle that they chose for themselves.
Mephedrone is relatively cheap, easily accessible, and can be highly addictive. And with intravenous use seemingly becoming more normalized in Georgia and the surrounding region, the potential for severe health consequences is growing. But Georgia's government, like those of many of its neighbors, is both ill-prepared and unwilling to tackle the issue head-on, leaving people who do end up needing help without adequate support or treatment options. It's the same story here as in so many countries around the world. The war on drugs as we know it isn't working, and punitive laws only make the situation worse. Until governments shift their approach from punishment to harm reduction, users will suffer, and the same old cycle of addiction and incarceration will continue.
We'd like to congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.